What's going on, everybody? NBA up to lock coming at you 58 minutes before lock here. Trade deadline is over. And of course, a lot of news on this 6-game NBA slate. Draft Cheat here, joined today by Rubio Dimes. Rubio, how you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
Oh, man, finally had a good betting day in the golf streets for the first time in a few days. So it's been nice. About as tired as I possibly can be tracking all this NBA news, DC. We didn't get the Giannis to the Wolves thing like you were dreaming of, but
No.
I think the summer will have the show there for him. I mean, clearly Giannis wants to waste another year of his prime, which kind of shocking to me. Didn't really push the envelope a little bit sooner, but everything else is fine. We're a game removed from the Jazz running Isaiah Collier out for 48 minutes and stuff. So any trade deadline day is usually a great DFS slate. Honestly, looking forward to it a lot tonight.
It's a good one for sure. And Mr. Collier back on the table. Price increase, but it's hard to argue, Rubio, with 48 minutes, 30 potential assists. I think he had 20 drives. Hopefully some people in the Discord, I did put in Collier 15 plus assists. Didn't see 22 coming, but monster day from him. He's certainly an interesting discussion. We got an extremely shorthanded Bulls team, which, by the way, I don't know what the Bulls are doing. They have once they get their guys back, it's all like guards, wings.
It's weird. It's very, very weird. And did you see the Jalen Smith minutes? The Jalen Smith minutes last game, 8 first half minutes, man. I was furious. I played Jalen Smith. I was like,
I fell for it on one of my teams as well. But we'll talk about Jalen Smith. We'll talk about the Bulls, the Jazz, and every other team on this slate. Appreciate everybody in here watching the show. Feel free to throw in any questions you have during the show. We'll answer those as we go along, as we go game by game on this fantastic 6-game NBA trade deadline slate. We'll start off with these early games, which I think are both maybe the 2 worst games of the slate to kick it off, I think. But we'll talk about them both. We'll start with the Brooklyn Nets, Orlando Magic. Modest total here, sitting at 215. Magic favored by 9.5. Magic still without Franz Wagner. Josh Minott traded to Brooklyn. He'll be unavailable here. And 2 kind of relatively healthy teams with enough bodies to, go deep into the bench if they choose to do so. There's a few teams on this slate that they don't have that option. So kind of like yesterday, Rubio, I'm very particular about who I'm playing from these 2 early games, right? There's plenty of news to come, starting lineups, plenty of value. It's a high bar to clear to make rosters tonight. Maybe not if you're playing 150, but if you're playing 10 lineups like me, you gotta be careful locking in these early plays. I don't see a ton here that I want to lock in early. Michael Porter Jr. always a decent play with high upside at 8,600 with his shooting ability. But, man, beyond him, I really don't see much value here to go to. And I think there are better studs on this slate as well. It does look like this game will be relatively low owned. Jalen Suggs getting some ownership, Banchero, that makes sense to me. But other than that, everybody else well under 10% owned. What do you see in this first game, Rubio, Brooklyn and Orlando?
I could waste time. I could get us closer to the 7 o'clock mark and just talk in a circle for a little bit, but I'll avoid doing that. You're not clicking anyone on Brooklyn unless it's Michael Porter Jr. All right? Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, count how many bodies are available for the Brooklyn Nets tonight, and it's a lot. That's even without Cam Thomas, who is no longer with Brooklyn, right? So, you still got a ton of dudes who can be a factor, who vulture each other at, each position. Even like Igor's got, Ben Seraph behind him and all that, and then Drake Powell's been getting a lot of minutes. So unless it's Michael Porter Jr., you're out on mostly anyone. And the thing with MPJ, he's always going to come in under projected, but we know what he can do with his upside. We know he's capable of 50-plus burgers. And honestly, he can be better than Banchero straight up, even though Banchero seems to be in line, consistently getting that 35, 36-minute range. No Franz still. So, I mean, it's 2 decent defensive teams too, DC. It's MPJ and Banchero, but then Suggs is going to pop for a little bit of people. Desmond Bane's going to pop for a little bit of people. with no Franz. Those are okay plays. I even think Wendell's an okay play. But guys, I'm not jumping out of my seat for. And DC, I'd be reminiscent like to stack them, right? I'd only want one guy. And if I played MPJ, I could run it back with like, Suggs or a Bane or a Banchero. But I'm not playing like, Bane and Suggs or, Suggs and Banchero. So mostly a one max from either team and kind of moving on from here. And yeah, I mean, it's the worst game on the slate.
You see anything value-wise? I don't really.
Nothing. And we're going to have, I think a decent chance at, like you said with the Bulls too. I mean, that roster's in and out. The Wizards, I mean, I've been on a show since that tank class that they put on against the Kings the other day and still won. But yeah, you're going to have teams do some funky stuff tonight, not just because of tanking or whatever, but also the trade deadline. You don't need to attack two teams who were rather inactive for the most part.
I'm with you. We'll move on from Brooklyn and Orlando. I wouldn't go crazy with this game. Maybe a stud from each team if you feel strongly. But my approach, honestly, Rubio, my 10 teams right now, I don't have anyone from the first two games of the slate. I'm going to wait to see lineups. Just wait for the news to kind of trickle in as we get closer to those later games. Did get some news here. We'll get to the Chicago game, but it looks like Ivy, Simons, and Yabusele all going to play for Chicago, which does, I think, reduce, some of the value that we might have had. But, those guys in play too. So obviously we'll get to Chicago, fourth game on the slate. For now, though, let's go to the Wizards and the Pistons. That first game, Brooklyn-Orlando had the lowest total on the slate. Also one of the more likely blowout games. This one has a higher total, sitting at around 226, 227 right now. But Detroit favored by 15. So the most likely, at least per the lines, blowout game on the slate makes sense to me. Detroit been awesome all year at home here against a somewhat depleted Washington team who's missing, obviously, Trae Young still not playing. Trey Johnson out. Who else are they missing? We think it looks like Russell, Hardy, their trade acquisitions aren't going to be in there. Anthony Davis, not going to be in there. But they do have enough bodies to the Washington Wizards where they don't have to give anybody huge minutes if they don't want to. Alex Sarr, our guy Alex Sarr, has been really good recently, but they got enough centers now to reduce his minutes if they want to, which has kind of been the standard for most of the year for the Wizards. And in Detroit, we'll see on Cade Cunningham, questionable to play in this game. Should get that news while we're on air, maybe in 20 minutes or so. Obviously, if Cade out, that changes things significantly for Detroit. Also have Tobias Harris questionable, which would open up minutes as well. So we'll see on those two guys. I assume at least one of them goes, but again, we don't know that for sure. Another game that, if Cade and Tobias go, I'm pretty low on both of these teams. If Cade is in, I do think Cade is a fine play. Duran looks pretty good to me. But another game I'm not going crazy with. High bar to clear with all the value on the slate. What are you doing with Detroit and the Washington Wizards?
It's one of those things, DC, where, with Detroit, we all know what they're capable of, and it wouldn't shock anyone if Cade's out, right? Like, there's time and time again, he's kind of missed a game here where, they don't really have a ton of news surrounding him, right? Like, all of a sudden, it'll just be dropped at 6:30 and be like, oh, yeah, Cade's out, by the way, even though he probably didn't warm up in his usual time slot. None of the beat writers say anything, and all of a sudden, right when 6:30 hits, we get the news, and, obviously that would impact the slate a ton. But, if you just take out Cade and assume he's in, it's another team with a ton of bodies. Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, and Cunningham would probably be your limit. If you want to mix in Stewart, I wouldn't. You're banking on a little bit of foul trouble from Duren and maybe even a little bit of Tobias. But, outside those three guys, who are you going to have? Kevin Huerter's back in this mix. You got, Karis LeVert, you got Ron Holland, you got Duncan Robinson. How many guys do the exact same thing on this team? Who's going to be dropped from the rotation? Right now you could easily see an 11-man rotation for Detroit right now if things were to, kick off right now. So unless Cade's out, I wouldn't have any interest in the role players, and if we do get that news, we'll be able to go over that real quick. But for right now, it's just Duren and Cunningham. Harris is fine, but a lot of his production has come late in the second half. He's kind of due for like if you watch like a Tobias Harris game, he'll have like 7 points in the middle of the third quarter, and then he'll get a few cheap buckets in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden he's like had an okay DFS day, but he's not going to kill you with a ton of upside, I don't think. And flip it over to the Wizards. I mean, Brian Keefe that might have been the most clear rigging of a game I've ever seen in my life, DC, and he still won it. We see all these MLB pitchers get arrested, for throwing a ball, but not for rigging a game. Like, come on now. And that was some absolute terrorism that we saw from him the other night against the Kings. But and for that reason, the reason why I bring it up is you can't trust the minutes on any of these guys. Genuinely. They were thin going into that game, and no starter played more than 22 minutes. That was Bub Carrington, I think, had 22 minutes. So if you're asking me to trust the Wizards in a game that they clearly, in a season, that the coaches willingly said, I don't want to play anymore. We want to lose. We want to get a draft pick and stuff. Well, why would I trust a guy at 7,600 like Alex Sarr, even though I love his game? I love his upside from a DFS, game-to-game basis. Keyshawn George, shut me up. He's proved me wrong. He's been really good for DFS over the last, but why would I trust him? Right? Bub Carrington, I thought he is still raw. He's still not a great player at all. He's not even a good player. But if he's going to get benched for Sharif Cooper in clutch time, why would you trust him? So at the end of the day, I say this a lot. The only guy I'm willing to play on the Wizards in like a single entry would be Tristan Vukcevic, and that would be hoping that Sarr would be capped out at 24 minutes, and Vukcevic could be in line for 24 plus, right? And it's a value dart. It's not something I'm getting excited for, though. I mean, the fact that he is back, you could see some funky rotations. I do like the AD trade for a lot of reasons and stuff. I know it's not pertaining to the slate, but maybe they have more of a willingness to see Sarr at the 4, or maybe Sarr playing alongside another big, because we saw, they got killed against the Knicks, and Sarr barely played 24 minutes, right? Bagley played 16 in that game. So if you get like Vukcevic potentially maybe getting this 20 plus minutes or so in situations like this with Bagley gone, I think he is worth a dart throw. Outside of him, Jameer Watkins projects okay, but again, I think Justin Champagnie and Jameer Watkins, just as filler pieces where, at a small forward, power forward eligibility can kind of go a little bit of a long way. On this slate, DC, if you were to organize it, Risha Shea is your top point per dollar, and Watkins is second at the small forward position. Patrick Williams is your top power forward. So if you want to punt on forward a little bit, and I think it's okay and acceptable to do that with a guy like Watkins.
Yeah, I think he makes some sense. But again, overall, not a game that we're super into. I just don't trust Washington. And I do think this game very, very likely to end in a blowout, especially if Cade and Harris are in there. So we'll see on them. We'll revisit Washington and Detroit when we get the Cade and Tobias news. But for now, it doesn't look like the very best spot to go on the slate. Let's get to some of these good games. We'll start with Utah and Atlanta. Talked a little bit about Isaiah Collier. Is it Collier? I'm not sure.
I call him Collier. I watch a lot of Jazz games, but I don't pay attention. I think they call him Collier, though. If my ear is not mistaken.
I usually have 3 or 4 games on at once, so you kind of miss some of the pronunciations. But in any case, Isaiah Collier or Collier coming off a monster 62.8 DraftKings fantasy point performance. 22 assists. I think that's the high on the year already.
By a lot, yeah.
Didn't even shoot well from the field in that game. 6 for 16 and 0 for 3 from 3. It's a pretty good matchup here against Atlanta and what should be a pace-up game. Monster total here, sitting at 244.5. Obviously, both these teams missing significant pieces. We'll start on the Utah side. Once again, they don't have another point guard. It is just Isaiah Collier. I don't know if he's going to play 48 minutes again, but he could, right? He certainly could. Price is up, $6,900 on DK, $7,400 on FanDuel. They'll also be without Vince Williams here. Jaren Jackson not ready to play yet. Conchar out. And we did get news. Brittany mentioned it in chat. Nurkic available. But
DNP. That's a DNP right there.
They need to be fined, the Utah Jazz, with what they're doing with Nurkic. How many times have they done this? 5 or 6 times? Seems like at least when he's technically available.
It's terrible, DC. I mean, like, people like to laugh about it, but that's why I'm a huge proponent of removing the draft. You know, you can't watch 15 of these teams. The Pacers traded a top 4 protected pick for this year, their own pick. You're going to tell me they have the second worst record in the NBA? You're going to tell me they're going to try and win another game this year? Hell no. Hell no. There's going to be so many phantom injuries and stuff. These teams have no incentive to win. That Nurkic thing is, it's Will Hardy and them being despicable as can be. I mean, I hate it. Daryl Morey, right? Is he the new GM there or whatever?
Yeah, it's a clown show operation going on in Utah, but certainly presents some fantasy opportunity. No question about that. With all these guys out, looks like Kevin Love out as well. Kessler, of course, and Nurkic out. So who is Utah starting center?
Philly.
Yeah, Filipowski. But yeah, power forward eligible on DraftKings. So coming off a monster game, he was actually my anti-play of the day. Last time out against me.
I got to give you credit, DC. You gave Flag out as your play of the day last Thursday when he went off for 49 against Constantinople.
Yeah. They've been hit and miss. Play of the day, anti-play of the day. I've chosen Filipowski twice. Once he busted as massive chalk. I think that was maybe the Spurs game, put up like 10.8 fantasy points, but huge game. I think best game of the year for Filipowski last time out, and he'll have all the opportunity that he can get here, right? Even at 6,400. Even Markkanen last game, close game. They only played him 27 minutes in a game where Collier played 48. So, and Markkanen was playing well, 27 points in 27 minutes. I just don't think I can trust Markkanen at this point with what happened last game. But yeah, Filipowski's interesting. Collier, I don't know where you stand. I'm interested to hear where you stand on him. But maybe the first guy in my lineup tonight. I'm going back to the well. The underlying metrics supported everything he did. Again, not expecting the 60 burger, but I think 50 is absolutely in play. And at $7K, that pays off again. So I'm in on Collier here, 33% owned. So is the field. But yeah, if he burns me here after coming through last time, I'll move on to the next slate. But right now, in all 10 of my lineups is Mr. Collier. Talk about him. Talk about Filipowski. I think Sensabaugh and Ace Bailey are also pretty interesting here. And then on the Atlanta side, I mean, just an amazing matchup for the Atlanta Hawks here. They'll be without traded Porzingis, without Kongwu. They do have Landale, Mohamed Gay to fill the big spots. Kennard also traded, so they're a little shorthanded. They still have Daniels, McCollum, Alexander Walker, of course, our guy, Jalen Johnson. Colin Sexton out. They do have other guys. We'll get to the Chicago Bulls in a second. Let's stick here for now with Atlanta and Utah. Really interesting game here, Rubio. Awesome fantasy environment. And you're going to want pieces from this game. What are you doing
best
with
game of the slate? Best game of the slate.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, and it was funny, DC. I didn't see your post about the 15 assists, which I wish I did. I saw you had 5 assists at halftime. So imagine that. You had 5 assists at halftime. 17 in the
second half, he was just dishing them out left and right.
I remember I got on, and I've been having a rough week, just like, I've been feeling sick and stuff. And all of a sudden, I looked down for like 10 minutes. I looked back up. He's got 7 more assists. And I felt like I passed out, which was very much a case. I mean, that's how sick I was feeling. But the 48 minutes is great, right? Even if you don't think he gets 48, I mean, there's still just a massive chance that he gets 40. And he's 6,900. I mean, that's too cheap. Sabre has him marked at 33.5, and that's pretty conservative. And they have a reason to be conservative. I mean, it's Will Hardy as the coach, right? Like, at the end of the day, would it shock you if he played
a hard over on 33?
I agree. But what are the odds that you're saying, fuck Will Hardy, I hate him, like this guy?
You set the over under for Collier. What do you put it at?
38. I'll give you 37.5, and I think I would lean the over. I think I would juice it like minus 140 on the over where he plays 38.
That's not your true line then. If you're going to juice one side,
that's true. Yeah, but I'm greedy like that. I will probably lean toward the over on that. I think Collier is the best play on the slate. It's great pace up. I mean, well, not that there is much of a pace up with Utah, but it's a very similar pace to the Pacers, right? Where it's just like run and gun, score 120 points if you can.
And that's honestly, I mean, we like any player in a pace-up game, but it fits Collier perfect. He thrives in the open court, thrives in transition, speedy guard. I just don't see getting away from him here.
Yep, and like, look, the only guy I don't trust on Utah is Lauri Markkanen because he's too good. Like he's too good. Will Hardy will bench him. He'll shoot 10 for 19. He'll be a +5 and only play 27 minutes. All the other guys, 40 minutes for Cody Williams, 35, 37 for Kyle Filipowski. If anyone's minutes could decline slightly, it could be his with, Toshibwe as the backup. If you really want like a dark horse, like, who's going to be a guy that you could click on at Stoneman 3K, bring up Toshibwe. It only takes 18 minutes for that guy to potentially get 24 DK. That's in the cards, right? I don't think it could be a main play. Like if you were looking for a main play, DC, who was Stoneman 3K, and you're like, I really like all 7 of my other guys in my lineup, and I got a utility for 3K, Toshibwe would make that list, and I think be front and center because I think there is a good chance that he could play 18 minutes tonight. But with all these other guys, like Svi played 20 minutes, played great in those 20 minutes, but they are very clear they don't like playing Svi. They think he's like good, like they think he's like too good because they sit him when Dirk sits. Svi doesn't play that much or sits as well. So Svi, Sensible only played 30 minutes last game. So Bailey, Collier, and Cody Williams all got 40+ minutes. That could very well be the case again, DC. If you wanted to kind of make a case for anyone, and I've been a hater on him all year, but like he can be good for DFS. Sensible could maybe get a slight increase, and Cody Williams or Ace Bailey could get a slight decrease. But strictly speaking, Collier, Ace Bailey, Cody Williams are 3 of the best plays on the entire slate. And then in the next tier, I would put Sensible and Toshibwe. And I think Filipowski would also belong in that first tier. So you have 6 guys, and Toshibwe, I know I'm stretching it a little bit, but 6 guys who could easily make a main lineup, right? Sensible maybe also stretching it, but 4 definitely, 2 kind of fringe guys. You flip it over to the ATL. I mean, the Ricochet thing is, I'm okay with it. Forward is bad, right? At the end of the day, forward is great. If you think Ricochet is, capable of beating out Cody Williams, Ace Bailey, and co, play Ricochet. He's not going to hurt you. He's only 4,100. He's a decent value. We can play some other studs on this slate as well. And then you got CJ McCollum, Null, Jalen Johnson. I mean, how do you not play Jalen Johnson? This is a Utah team, though, DC, that's given up 120, 130 every single game. So, I mean, like, I'm game stacking it. I mean, it's not going to be a secret, but
he also gets to go against the whites, Markkanen, Filipowski.
Yeah, that's a great point there. I mean, what do we say in the NFL season, right? You could honestly throw the Utah Jazz. If you stack against the Bengals and the Cowboys, you would have printed a lot of money. Right. Well, in this situation, especially with the Utah playing some horrific defense, some of the worst in league history. Well, you stack against Utah and play the thin Utah players, you're probably going to have a profitable night. So, I mean, it's no secret. I'm probably going to have 3 or 4 Utah guys, DC, and I'm probably going to have 2 or 3 Hawks, Jalen Johnson, and then it would kind of be broken out. I think Jalen Johnson might be my favorite stud by far. And then Ricochet, McCollum, and Null in that next tier. I like Kispert, but like, do the Hawks like Kispert? Right, they already got a few wings and stuff. What's his ceiling? I think the Utah guys have a much better ceiling than him. So I'm sticking with the 4 guys who are kind of in that, 3 guys in that backcourt: McCollum, Null, and Ricochet, and then Jalen Johnson kind of being the one big. And with them starting Koloko, it kind of kills me. And then Jock Landale's, now a factor. So none of those centers or other guy. I'm not really that interested in. But this game overall, though, the absolute nut.
Yeah, Collier and Jalen Johnson, the key pieces.
How do you not play those 2? I mean, those are the first 2 dudes in your lineup easily.
You're out on Markkanen because right now Sabres got him as one of the highest owned guys on the slate. I just don't trust the minutes.
That's exactly it, DC. And right now they got Lauri at 34 minutes, right? You either think that's wrong or that's right. And I think that's wrong. I think that Lauri is...
That's a ceiling for minutes.
I agree.
I can't project him for 30%.
Agree with that. I think 34 is entirely too high for a middling projection because I think Sabre is really conservative. They have more minutes than Isaiah Collier for Lauri Markkanen. That's wrong.
It is.
We love Saber too, but that, like, if you were to look at a projection, look at the minutes, see if they match up. And in Laurie's case, we agree that he probably, if he did see 34 minutes, the projection's right, but we don't think he'll see 34 minutes.
Yeah, he could, right? He definitely, I guess it's possible. He was playing upper 30s in minutes not too long ago, but with their trades and what they did last game, I mean, it's just hard to trust.
The tank is here, baby. The tank is here. I mean, the 39? So this is the thing that confuses me, right? 39 minutes against Toronto, then 27 against Indiana. And now without all those studs and stuff, and I know he did just play 39, so maybe I am being slightly oblivious, but like, they showed their hand. They showed their hand last game. Like, they don't. I mean, that could have also been against the Pacers, who they needed to lose that game. If you really wanted to put the tinfoil hat on, we'd really wanted to lose that game against the Pacers. But yeah, I think they showed their hand, as in like, hey, Laurie has given us too good of a chance to win tonight. Cool them off. And it's a shame that in 2026 the NBA is still having this problem.
This is possible. I mean, nothing would have surprised me with the Jazz and some of these tanking teams, but it's kind of like, I mean, me and JSU talked about it. I think that was Tuesday. Like, they don't have another point guard.
I think they would throw Ace Bailey into the fire and make him run point forward, right? Like, I think that would be the only way that they would also, he would be so bad in that role, but they'd also be like everyone else the rookie is doing it, right? Like Cooper Flagg did it. Why can't Ace Bailey? That would be the only way, DC, that I could see Collier not getting enough minutes, would be Ace Bailey getting thrown into the fire for 7 turnovers tonight.
Yeah, I don't see it, especially if you look at like potential assists, touches.
Yeah, exactly.
He like barely had the ball, Ace Bailey.
They might want the ball more in his hands. I agree. You look at it, you just wonder who the hell else can dribble the ball up the court, man.
I think Collier is in for big minutes again. I'll be banking on it tonight. But yeah, going away from marketing myself, especially at really high ownership. I don't think he's actually going to come in 39% owned, but obviously people are going to go to market, and I fell for it on a couple teams last time out. And listen, if he gets those 34, 35 minutes, he's probably going to smash, but just can't trust it myself. Let's go to the next game on the slate. Certainly an interesting one here between the Bulls and the Raptors. Total sitting around, I believe, around 230 for this one, 227. Bulls, obviously, one of the more active teams at the trade deadline, and we have been getting news coming in with them. So Sexton is out, but they do have Kawamura. Jaden Ivey is going to play, and Simons is going to play. I was kind of thinking that Simons, and especially Simons, I thought would maybe sit. I thought Ivey, he was kind of questionable. So initially, and maybe you still feel this way, initially they were looking like must plays. A little bit more sketchy with the minutes, but still very shorthanded, right? So Kawamura, Ivy. I think Simons at 5K is an interesting play. They need the scoring. Buzelas, Patrick Williams, and then Jalen Smith, I don't know what to do with. They trade Vucevic, seemingly opening up more minutes for Jalen Smith. I think he missed one. He plays 20 minutes, plays well.
Crushes it.
Yeah, 24.2 DK points in 20 minutes, but
plus eight, by the way, was better when he was on the court than off.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do with Jalen Smith, but the Bulls, obviously one of the more interesting teams on the slate. Toronto, a good game environment. This Bulls team should be horrific defensively, but they have Barnes, Ingram, quickly. And then Barrett is out. So they do lose Barrett, but they got their big three available to play. Pirtle, obviously, out as well. But they do have centers to fill his role, Murray Boyles and Mamu. Let's start with the Chicago side, Rubio. Maybe one or two more guys active than we thought, but still a team that's very, very shorthanded. what are you doing with Bulls and the Toronto Raptors here? I'll be right back.
It's a weird situation. So with Simons kind of immediately being thrown into the team, you wonder what that's going to look like. And look, I love Yuki. But I would feel very stupid if he were to get 15 fantasy points tonight. And he's a fantasy point per minute guy. And we saw, I mean, even during the Olympics a couple of years ago, he was pretty good in them. But you look at, who's around him. I mean, the one thing that they probably do have is guards. And unless they're going to run, God, who's going to be even at the 3? You got Anthony Simons. You got Jaden Ivey, you got Yuki Kawamura. I mean, I guess there is a chance that he could play 25 minutes again. So I'm kind of running into this mental roadblock. And the mental roadblock is, how is this Bulls lineup going to look like at all times? Because with Okoro playing 40 minutes last game, right? Buzelis playing 36, and then Jalen only playing 20. And then you had Ulbrich play 16. So last game, Dosunmu and Kobe White combined for 57 minutes. Dalen Terry also flipped in for 15-30. Patrick Williams played 27. So I think the one thing that you can confidently say, if they go small ball with Patrick Williams again, DC, he could be an intriguing play. I think Buzelis might be my favorite play on the entire Bulls roster. And the reason why Buzelis pops more to me because I think I can trust his minutes and I can trust his production. I really like his game. I think he'll be a good NBA player, moving down the road. But it shouldn't take away from the fact that these Bulls, Ivy, even Simons, who I think probably comes off the bench, and Yuki, even though I didn't really initially like Yuki when looking at him, are they all in line for 30 minutes, DC? If you were just to individually
they have to. They only have 3 guards.
Okay, I'm going to paint a picture. Ivy, 32 minutes, Yuki, 32 minutes, and Simons, 32 minutes. Is that, that's a perfect world. I mean, that's it's communism, 32. Everyone gets 32 minutes, right? That's it. But if you were
that equals 96 minutes, which is the 48 plus 48
for the backcourt. Yeah. So I guess I'm in on this backcourt. I don't want to be. I mean, God, I really
do. At 32 minutes, all 3 probably get there.
Yeah, I have it's just nothing more than just a gut check of do you really want to click Yuki Kawamura at chalk, man? You're taller than this dude, Greg. Come on now. You're really going to click him in an NBA game? And the answer probably should be yes. I mean, he's got a great projection. Jaden Ivey, we know. I think if there was one guy who I think is buzzing to kind of show hey, this is what I can do. A chip on his shoulder per se. I think Yuki's got the same chip on his shoulder for a guy who's been in the G League for a year and a half, crushed it during the Olympics. And I think kind of wants to show out and, be a guy who can be a regular NBA guy. Ivy, for example, he's been on this ghost minutes restriction where he only played 1 game more than 22 minutes this entire season. Didn't even play well in it. Shot 2 for 10 that game against the Clippers in December. I think if there was anyone who kind of wanted to showcase, look, I was so good in college. I was, playing at an elite level there. There's a reason why I was a top 5 pick. Give me the ball, move out the way for 3,900. I think Ivy would be my 1, Yuki would be my 2, and then I think Simons would be my 3. And it's just more so because just coming off the bench and a slightly higher price. I'm assuming Simons would come off the bench. So if we had to guess out, the rotation, it would be the same as last game, right? Just, Yuki start, the backcourt would be the only difference. Yuki and Ivy, you think would start? Or do you think there's a chance that they would go big and Patrick Williams would start alongside Jalen Smith?
Hard to know. I assume one of the guards, Simons, Ivy, or Kawamura, comes off the bench.
What if 2 of them came off the bench? Just for the mental exercise for the people who are thinking, what if Ivy and Simons came off the bench? Would you have the same interest in these guards?
That would mean Okoro at the
2,
Williams at the 3, and Buzelis at the 4, or you can switch.
I think it's a capable lineup, and you could even throw in the fact that let's say they probably wouldn't go much Ulbrich or whatever, but it's something that might be in the cards. But I think we both agree that it probably won't happen. I'm just bringing it up for the people like, where it's like if two of them start, then two of them are great plays, right? No matter how you slice it, all three are great plays. Two of them are really great plays. When it's all set.
So they've got the 3 yards, Kawamura, Ivy, and Simons. Then if you go to the 3 and the 4 spots, they've got Okoro, Williams, Bucelas, right?
And Terry went to the Pelicans. Okay, I didn't realize that. So yeah, they literally don't have any depth at the wings.
I mean, that's it. They got like 5 guys to play 4 positions.
I guess I'm in on these guards. You gotta be. I mean, like you said,
6 guys for 4 positions, but they could also put Williams at the 5 at times, which they probably will do, especially if Jalen Smith's minutes are lower. I got to be in on Chicago. Just so few guys. I mean, even Simon's off the bench I like a lot. Yeah, I'm in on Chicago. I think you can play all these guys. How many is too many from Chicago? I think you can play 3 for sure.
I think 3. I think 3 is okay. I think 2 is a sweet spot because I kind of want to play 3 Jazz. I kind of want to play 1 Hawk, and then then you're kind of running out of positions. I think 2 is a sweet spot. I think 3 is definitely in play though.
No, this is right. They do have McClung. They called him up from the.
Is Yabusele available too?
Yeah, he is too. Yeah, we overlooked those guys. They're not. I don't think they're even available in DraftKings to play.
No, they're not. Yeah,
that does change things though.
I want to see the start. I probably wouldn't play anyone off the bench unless it's Patrick Williams. So if like Yuki was coming off the bench, I don't think I would go to Yuki. Even at 3,600, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah, could be a hodgepodge with Chicago, but yeah, good call from Joe.
I forgot about McClung. I literally read that while we were on the show too.
Yeah.
Flip it over to the Raptors, DC, and like it's kind of similar a situation to the teams that we talked about earlier. There's not a whole lot to like, right? At the end of the day, Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram, with no RJ Barrett, right? Like those 2 guys get a little bit of a bump. Scotty Barnes is maybe slightly too expensive, but he's fine at 9,100. I don't think I would go to Murray Boyles at unless you're playing him at like the center spot. But like basically the 3 main guys for the Raptors are the only interest I'd have in running it back.
Yeah, I'm with you there. No value from the Raptors. I'm not super high on even the guys that are in there, but the matchup is awesome, obviously, against Chicago. Yeah. Which is your favorite?
They just gave up 131 last game. Kuzma put up a 31, 10, and 6. So,
I mean, they're probably going to do it again here. I can't see their defense being very good. How do you rank the main 3 Toronto guys? Ingram, Quickly, and Scotty Barnes.
Barnes, Quickly, Ingram.
Yeah, no issue with that. Sabres got them all clustered at the same point per dollar, which I agree with, and the same ownership, 10 to 15% ownership on those guys. Kind of last guys in, I think the 3 Toronto guys, and I probably only want one of them on each individual team. You agree with that, or are you okay with 2 Toronto guys on a roster?
One. Yeah, I'm with you. Same treatment as in like the Magic that we said earlier too. It's like you wouldn't play Banchero and Suggs or whoever. Same thing with Toronto. I wouldn't play Quickly with Barnes or anything.
Yeah, I will say Yuki's he was, last game they played with Dosunmu and White, but 10 potential assists, had the ball a ton. I think he's going to be the lead guard.
You have to have the ball a ton if you're going to be like that height, right? Like you just have to be effective in the NBA.
But he did.
He was good in the Olympics. Like that's the one impression that I've got. I admittedly didn't watch those last couple games of the Bulls, but like in the Olympics, he can ball.
If you're 5'7" and in the NBA, you can ball a little bit.
Yeah, so, I mean that's fair. Yeah, I mean
you got to be able to ball at that height because obviously at a severe disadvantage. I'm in on Yuki. I think he's my favorite, but I like 4 or 5 of these Bulls I think are definitely in play. Let's go to the 8 p.m. Eastern time games. We've got Charlotte playing some good ball right now, kind of a little bit out of nowhere, but winning a lot of games are the Charlotte Hornets. Your guy LaMelo's minutes have been up into the 30s. I think 3 games in a row, right around 30 minutes. which I suppose brings him.
Yeah, he hasn't been great in those. He hasn't been great in those, though. I mean, like, I think what the slate that we talked about was the 22, 3 and 9, 31 minutes, which wasn't bad. But I knew it was coming. I just wish that there was more of a payoff than what it has been. Where if I want to be early on someone and them get 50, not 40.
Yeah, low total in this game too. Sitting at 219, Houston by 4.5. Mostly healthy teams here. Tari Eason questionable for Houston, but they did get Kevin Durant back last game. He'll be in again today. I mean, I kind of expect a defensive game here, and with both teams fully healthy, not my favorite spot to go to. Frankly, most of my roster looks like going to be a lot of Utah, Atlanta, and Chicago. But anything standing out to you from either team, Charlotte or Houston here?
Ooh. I mean, look, I'm going to still be a fan of LaMelo, right? Where it's, 29.38 is what 29.3 minutes is what Sabre has him at. We've seen an upside of 32 in most recent times. So, like, I think that there's still a little bit of that value, right? It's a guy that I'm going to kind of keep chasing because I don't think projections will adjust even until after the All-Star break. I think there's a little bit of value with LaMelo. The guard is stacked. Diabate is fine, but you kind of go down the list like Brandon Miller, Concanapple, Miles Bridges. Like, who's going to have a big game out of those three? It feels like one has one every other game, right? Like Miles Bridges' case, he's been bad for a little bit now, but so I mean, like Miller and Conapple are fine, but I think LaMelo is going to be my favorite, just straight up. Diabate second, and then Miller and Conapple, third and fourth from the Hornets. You flip it over to the Rockets. Look, I mean, this is a good defensive team, Charlotte, right? At the end of the day, like, they're playing some good basketball, and they are committed. They're, a good unit right now, and there's a reason why the total isn't all that sexy. Not like they're great defensively or anything like that. But they also have the price increases on, the Rockets, 8,900 KD, 8,400 Amen Thompson, 9,400 Alperen Sengun. I think Sengun, just because I might have a little bit of leftover salary at center DC. I mean, I do like KD having small forward eligibility if anyone wants to spend up at small forward individually, because you're going to be spending on Jalen Johnson and people might have Filipowski in there where your power forward gets a little loaded. So maybe like KD and Sengun, just I think they're a tier below LaMelo for me, though.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't have much here. I don't mind the LaMelo Ball, but the guard position, I mean, it's kind of filled up with value. It's kind of hard to get to LaMelo Ball, and it is a little weird liking Collier over him at just 900 less, but I definitely like Collier better. Anything else from this game? I mean, these are kind of last guys in for me as well.
Yeah.
No one that I'm prioritizing. Sounds like you're the same way.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think the next game might be slightly better, just from an upside point of view. Like, I can even just kind of transition to it because I don't really have that much interest.
Go ahead. Spurs and Dallas up next.
Yeah, it's like Wemby, for example, at 10K on a center-only spot is a little bit better to me than, KD or whoever, from the previous game. And you go to your guy, Cooper Flagg. I mean, we both love Flagg. I mean, we really like his game. He's on an absolute tear. His last 3 games have been some of the best. And honestly, DC, why hop off? It's a rookie, a sensational talent. I think he heard the chirps too of people saying, "Oh, he wouldn't be a top 5 pick in this year's draft." Those dumbasses got no idea what they're talking about. He would still go 1-1. He's no quitter like Darren Peterson, whoever that Kansas guy is. This guy right here is an elite talent. He's a special player.
He's literally the best 19-year-old in NBA history, without question.
He wouldn't be a top 5 pick in this. Shut up. Like, come on. Like, this guy putting 40 up in an NBA game, 49 against the Hornets. Like, he's figured it out. And I think his teammates, not that he didn't have the respect of his team, but I think his teammates are, oh man, like this dude is actually like the best, on this team, right? And with no AD,
Cooper Flagg is officially him.
And it's like, I want Flagg. I really do. And it's the point thing. I'm so glad he's small forward eligible. Not that you have to click him, but you wouldn't click him on point guard tonight at all, right? But the fact that he's small forward kind of opens the door a little bit. I would be interested in a game stack with Wemby and Flag, right? Fox has been a little bit underwhelming these past few, with Castle kind of, running the point a decent bit. It's really tough to get there consistently in Fox's case, but Castle's minutes have also not really been that sexy either. So with the Spurs, it's like Wemby, a little bit of a tier down, then it's Castle. And I think that's about it. Maybe you can talk me into, I wouldn't be talking to Dylan Harper on this slate, but maybe like a Keldon Johnson at 5,300, where it's really unique, but a guy who can be a little bit of a microwave on a position that I think personally is the worst on this slate is small forward. So like if you want to get different at a position, I don't mind getting different at small forward. If you flip it over to the Mavs, we already talked about Cooper Flag. He's going to be my favorite here. Max Christie's shots have been up, but again, only guard eligible, shooting guard specifically. You're going to have to compete with Ivy and other guys in that spot. So he kind of takes a seat back. Najee Marshall having small forward eligibility kind of boosts him up just a little bit too, but you wouldn't stack him with Flag either. So it's either one or the other. And right now Flag is a clear 1, then maybe Najee as a 2. And that's about it. Unless Gafford were to sit by chance, what would that big man rotation look like last game with Gafford? Didn't he get hurt or something like that? They went to Powell for the latter half of that game and Cisse. So I still think it would be a little bit of a mess though at the front court positions.
Yeah, all makes sense to me. Let's go back to Detroit because we did get confirmation on their news. Brandon Williams also just ruled out for Dallas. So another bump for Cooper Flag. Sounds like you're in on the Cooper Flag train tonight, Rubio.
Yeah, and I was really upset by DK only making it a 50K to first. So I didn't MME tonight because I was kind of, only 50K, but it's like, why is it a 200K pool? So I instead of playing 150 tonight, I did enter the 888. So I am doing one individual lineup tonight, and I'm seeing if Flag's going to fit here in a second. I just wanted to see these bowl starters fading the first 2 games in my main lineup. Redmond, maybe it's just bad advice from people, but I don't like the whole situation with these cramps and stuff and his agent talking on the phone and behind the bench and telling him to sit. I only see what I can see on Twitter. Maybe it's a whole bunch of slander, but I don't know. You got to love basketball, and I think Flag loves basketball. I think the Thompson twins love basketball. And maybe Peter – I just get the vibe that he doesn't love basketball. He can be a sensational talent, though, but, those don't win if you don't love the game.
Who is this? Who doesn't love basketball?
I think that Peterson for Kansas. He's awfully good. The worst part is, why it's a little bit of a sour taste. I bet Kansas money line one time blindly, right? And I watched that dude sit on the bench the entire second half. I'm just getting they ended up winning. It was a game against TCU, but he came in for the last 10 seconds, DC, drew a foul on a 3-pointer, and then sat the rest of overtime too. I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe it.
Might be a little biased over there with
thing is interesting. Not to vulture you, DC. I just wanted to address this real quick. But the beef stew, I think he's okay, but I'd rather play him at center than power forward, if that makes sense. Do you think Isaiah Stewart's fine for a main team? I don't think you need him, but I think he's a fine play if he was one of your last 2 or 3 guys in.
I have no problem if I land on Beef Stew playing him, but not a super priority, just not a super high upside player. Let's go back to Detroit quick. We did get news, Cade Cunningham going to be in, but Tobias Harris obviously out. That goes to the Beef Stew news. Stewart, yeah, we think he's fine. What about Cunningham? I think Beanair asked as an early spend up. You have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with it. I think he'll probably come in a little bit owned. I don't think it'll be too high owned, but he's one of those guys who'll clock in at 15% because a lot of people have salary to spend. We obviously think guard is loaded. So maybe, if you're spending up at guard could be a little bit contrarian. So I don't hate that aspect of it. I do want as much flexibility as possible, though, when the 7:30 news hits, because we're going to get a lot of news there. I want to be able to kind of, look at my lineup. It's nice that I haven't done one lineup in a long time, DC. It's going to be fun. I want to be able to look at my lineup and adjust to that news, whether, the Bulls, maybe they start all 3 guards, right? What if they just threw a true curveball? I want all my options on the table. So that's why I'm fading the first 2 games personally.
I like that the 50K prize pool wasn't enough for you. You know, the 50K to first. Once you saw it wasn't 100K, you're like, I'm out. I'm out for
I was like, well, FanDuel is a much lower buy-in for like 20K to first, usually most nights and stuff. So I've been MMEing on FanDuel, and but when we do the show, I don't like to not play DK. So like I have to play DK when we do a show. So it's fun.
man of the people, Rubio Dimes.
Just like I don't want to be like, I love Cooper Flag. He's 6,400 on FanDuel. Now it's like he's 8,700 on DK, right? That's not the case tonight, but like there's been many times where even on a late slate and stuff like that, it is an option.
I wish it was the case. I wish Flag was. It wasn't that long ago. He was living.
It was not long ago at all.
Yeah. But you got to pay for him now over on FanDuel at 9,500. Jalen Duren as a early play. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think power forward's loaded, right? So, like, if you're playing him at the center spot, again, he'd be like one of my last 2 or 3 in, and it has to fit a combo. But I'm okay with it. I think Duren and Cunningham and Stewart would be the 3 guys from the Pistons. I wouldn't play anyone on the Wizards. I would only play MPJ and then maybe like one of those 3 Jazz who popped Bane, Suggs, or was it Bane, Suggs, and Banchero? So it's very few guys in that option, but Duren would definitely make that list.
Makes sense to me. Let's do anti-play and play of the day. Rubio, favorite part of the show. Got it sorted by ownership here. Right now, Sabres got Ivy as the highest owned guy on the slate, 50%. Collier, 40%. Filipowski, Buzelis, Kawamura. So Bulls and Jazz, a lot of kind of what we expected. And then 3 Atlanta guys getting ownership too. But who's the most overowned here, Rubio? Who's your anti-play of the day?
You look at it, you just kind of think there's not a whole lot of options. I know that we both kind of talked about it, right? So like I don't want to we just talked about it for 5 minutes. We talked about this one extensively, but when Nurkic is sitting, to me, that usually tends to mean that other guys aren't as big of a factor. Like Will Hardy is willing to completely lose a game, right? Like Svi in many of the games that Nurkic hasn't played has barely played or sat. Laurie could be in that similar boat. Without Nurkic playing in that starting lineup, maybe Will Hardy is clearly showing his hand as in, look, I don't care if we win or lose this game. I'll let my, star, forward put up some empty numbers. But, if the game is looking close in the middle of the second quarter or third quarter, I might yank him a little bit early. That's why he played 26 minutes last game. So I think that there is a better chance that Laurie plays under 30 minutes, and I will not be chasing the 20+% ownership on him. So he's my anti-play of the day.
Love it. He was on my short list as well. I will go to a different player, though. Justin Champagnie, 5K for the Wizards. Minutes are not secure. Doesn't have the greatest role. Price isn't super cheap at 5K. Not a super high upside guy, in my opinion. Likely to be blown out by Detroit. 21% for Justin Champagnie feels pretty high for me. Any problem with the Champagnie anti-play of the day?
I like that. I'm looking at this. I got an Oscar Tshiebwe lineup. I really wanted to fit Flag DC. He might make a list here. Yeah. I kind of dig it a little bit. I can't lie.
Yeah, Cooper Flag, your play of the day.
No, I'll go more traditional, just because I don't want to say a guy who's not going to be in my lineup. It's like, then it's Isaiah Collier or Jalen Johnson or so. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bit different. Yeah, I'm gonna go Cooper Flag as a tournament play of the day, right? And then, we already talked about him extensively. He'd be, I think, one of the best players that we'll see for a long time coming. He's going to be the face of the USA basketball. Him and Anthony Edwards going to lead us to gold in 2028. It's going to be great. And I think Tshiebwe would be my cheapie, where it's like, who's that guy who can get you 25? Who's the guy who can dig deep? Why am I not playing Isaiah Stewart? Well, I think maybe Tshiebwe, if he were to get 18 minutes, could match that. And he's only 3K, allows me to fit an extra stud, allows me to spend up at small forward, a position where everyone else is paying down. Kind of goes hand in hand, right? If you're playing Flag, you might have to punt one spot. That one spot could be Tshiebwe at the utility spot.
All right. I will go more chalky with my play of the day. I think you got to play Isaiah Collier here. 48 minutes last game. He's on all 10 of my lineups. He's not coming out. We think 40% ownership. I think that's too low by 50, 60%. So Collier, I think, is going to be in for another big game. And I love the mini stack of Collier and Jalen Johnson. Two popular plays, but two guys I absolutely want in my lineup tonight. That's all 6 games. Anti-play of the day, play of the day. Any more questions, guys? Throw them in. We'll take it up to lock on these last 2 or 3 minutes. You have your lineup finalized, Rubio? I assume not. My lineups are all kind of shells at this point. Just waiting for really the Bulls news, right? Is the big thing.
Yes.
Probably get that in the next couple minutes, maybe, hopefully. Sometimes the starters don't matter. With the Bulls, I think it matters tonight. I mostly want the starters when it comes to the guards. Are you the same way?
Yeah, I just built a lineup, and you remember, how you said 3 earlier? 3 Bulls. It's looking like 3 Bulls, and especially I like Buzelis a lot. One question I would have, and we can, I'm okay to stay an extra few minutes to really kind of make sure that we get these lineups. Utah, I'm not willing to wait for Utah, but I'll wait for Chicago because Utah is going to drop it at 724. All right, we're not going to wait that long.
No.
But I want to ask you a question. Do you think raw points could come into a factor where if Wemby put up 47, he could be in the winner at 10K? I'm kind of leaning toward yes.
I never have a problem with Wembanyama. So, yeah, I mean, center's a little weak. Would you agree with that?
It's not as strong as usual, right? And like this is why if people are wanting to play Cade Cunningham, I think the Cade Cunningham thing is actually not terrible. The more I look at it and stuff, if I was running like multiple line, I'd be all over a little bit of Cade. But just running one, I want that flexibility. But with Cade, raw points could be a major factor if they don't blow out the Wizards and the Wizards somehow keep it close. I mean, we've seen him time and time again get north of 50. So. Yeah, I think like I'm more open to playing a stud where you're just playing a stud, right? You don't have to really think too much of it. Just think, I think he scores 50 tonight. That could easily be good enough.
Yeah, for sure. I like that call. Any other final thoughts here as we wind down to lock? Got another minute to go. Hopefully people, well, you don't need to be solved yet on your lineups. Yeah, I'm not playing anyone early. Did you end up on any early players?
No. Cade, I was really close to Cade where it wasn't anything other than like, if you wanted an extra stud. But, if you play Yuki, and Tshiebwe, you can really fit whoever you want, right? Like assuming Yuki were to start. And the reason why I like Tshiebwe a lot too is just the fact that you see it's like, I don't think anyone's going to click his damn name. And at center is probably its weakest. It's been on a slate and a decent bit, right? Relative to the slate, right? Like there's some good centers, Wemby, Sengun, Duran's not a bad play either and stuff. But it's like, you kind of run out of that list. Like Jalen Smith and Patrick Williams. I mean, good luck trusting one of those two. I think both are individually. I think Patrick Williams could be a great value play, but it's like, there's paths to either one failing. Right. Well, if one fails, the other one likely succeeds, though. So, I mean, if you really wanted to kind of break it down that way, unless Olbrich played like 24 minutes.
Yeah, I think we'll see the Bulls play all their available guys. Could be frustrating, but they're all so cheap that I'm going to go to the Bulls anyway. Any update on their lineup? Didn't get it yet. Looks like maybe not on the Bulls. I mean, it could potentially be a down to the wire thing with all their new players. So we'll see on the Bulls. We'll see on the Jazz as well. No lineup news yet. We'll, of course, be in the Discord answering any questions. I'm sure we got plenty of coordinators in there. And we'll break down that Bulls news when we get it. Should be soon, but could be closer to that 7:30 Eastern time tip time. So we'll close this down, close the show down for now. Appreciate everybody watching. I'll be here with, looks like Big T tomorrow, me and Big T on an early show, I think 4:45 Eastern time. So I'm sure we'll see all you guys there. Appreciate everybody checking out the show. We'll be in Discord answering questions, finalizing lineups, all that good stuff. But until tomorrow, that's it for us. For Rubio Dimes, I'm Draft Cheat, and we're out of here.